Finally, something happened. Finally. I think this is bogus. I think it's petty. I don't think this is enough. It's a slap on the wrist. It looks like Alyssa Thomas was suspended. Finally. But this has been the epicenter of the sports world conversation today, has been this entire situation, fist to throat, all types of stuff. We got to
watch his face, fist to throat. That's not hyperbole. Wednesday night at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, during a scramble for a loose ball, Phoenix's Alyssa Thomas drove her fist into Caitlin Clark's throat. No whistle, play on. Clark left that game with a back injury. What the league did about it the next day is the argument everyone's having right now.
Okay, the WNBA issued a statement. Upon post-game review, the Phoenix Mercury's Alyssa Thomas has received a flagrant foul 2 penalty and a 1-game suspension. If that was going to suspend her for 1 game, it's like doing nothing. Like this league is a joke. This league is a joke. How do you get a 1-game suspension for that? You need to make a statement. You need to protect your player.
Here are the facts. On June 25th, the WNBA reviewed the play and gave Thomas a flagrant foul 2 and a 1-game suspension for a non-basketball act, reckless contact to Clark's throat. 6 minutes and 52 seconds left in the second quarter of Phoenix's 109 win. 1 game. And here's the part the outrage skips. 4 flagrant points is an automatic 1-game suspension in this league. The math suspended her. The league didn't have to reach for anything extra.
Kelly Krauskopf, team president, came out and issued a statement. It says player safety should be paramount in our league. We appreciate the WNBA's review of last night's incident and the action taken. Right now, our focus is Caitlin and our entire team as we prepare for Saturday. Finally, Kelly Krauskopf has come out. She's responded to this. She hasn't responded to anything.
Fever team president Kelly Krauskopf put out a short statement. Player safety should be paramount. They appreciate the review. The focus is on Clark and the team, measured, corporate. But notice what set the table for all of this. 2 nights earlier, on Monday, these same teams played a chippy game. Indiana won, 86-77, 6 technical fouls, Clark and former teammate DeWanna Bonner jawing near the basket, a player ejected. So this wasn't one ugly moment out of nowhere. It was the second act of a feud the whole league could feel building.
Blasted the WNBA today. Take a listen to what he had to say.
It's either incompetence or intentional. Both are embarrassing. The WNBA, they just keep driving into a wall at full speed with Caitlin Clark.
Yep.
They now have a commemorative poster of 30 years of the WNBA. Caitlin Clark's not on it. And it's not just like an ode to the veterans that started the...
That's Colin Cowherd, and his framing is blunt, incompetent or intentional, and both embarrassing. His point isn't really about one foul. It's about a league that, in his words, keeps driving into a wall at full speed with its biggest star. And the example he reaches for is a poster, a piece of merchandise that became its own controversy this week. Stay with that one, because the poster story has a twist, most of the hot takes left out.
Not, you guys, when she broke into the league, you moved her road games to bigger arenas to accommodate the fans.
Exactly.
You were flying the last 6 rows of Southwest Airlines until she made such an impact, you transitioned, pivoted to private jets. And she's not on the 30-year poster, but Paige Beckers and Angel Reese are.
Here's what's actually on it. The WNBA released a 30-year commemorative poster through Wincraft, about 20 players, past and present. Aja Wilson, Brianna Stewart, Paige Beers, Angel Reese, Kelsey Plum, Sophie Cunningham, who's Clark's own teammate, alongside legends like Lisa Leslie and Cheryl Swoops. No Caitlin Clark. Fans called it erasure, ragebait, disrespect. But then sports business reporter Darren Rovell explained the likely reason, and it isn't what the narrative assumed. Outside of Nike, Clark's licensing only lets companies use her name and number, not her likeness. Wincraft builds posters from player images. No image rights. No Clark. So the snub people are furious about is probably a contract clause, not a conspiracy. And that distinction matters if you actually care about being right.
Recently, there were TV games. Hers got double the rating of Asia Wilson, the best player in the league, the 3-time champ and the 4-time MVP. Double the rating. This is a paranoid, weird, insular league. And everybody, I mean, Older golfers were a little annoyed and irritated when young Tiger Woods got all the love and all the coverage. But about, a couple of months later, they went like, hey, wait,
But Cowherd's bigger argument survives the poster footnote because it's about money. Clark is the single biggest television draw this league has ever had. Her games regularly pull 1 to 2 million plus national viewers, numbers the WNBA hadn't touched in decades. When she arrived, the Fever moved road games into bigger arenas and the league leaned into charter flights. It had resisted for years. That's the Caitlin Clark effect, and it's not opinion, it's box office. His Tiger Woods comparison is the smart part. Older golfers resented the attention young Tiger got, until the purses exploded and everyone got richer, and the resentment quietly evaporated. The question he's asking is why this league can't make that same trade.
WNBA regular season is officiated like UFC.
Exactly. It looks like prison. It looks like jailhouse basketball in the WNBA during a regular season game. It's disgusting.
There's no eye gouging, but almost everything else.
The officiating complaint isn't just talk show theater either. The physicality in the women's game during the regular season is real, and the inconsistency around Clark specifically has been a running storyline all year. Which brings us to the person with the most standing to say so, her own head coach, who did not hold back.
Best, how do you...
And Fox, I've had great management, mostly. 35 years in this business, the one thing I look for that's a problem with management, if you let little problems fester and become big problems, or you can't solve pretty easy stuff, that's the WNBA's commissioner and the WNBA product. The officiating's horrible. Caitlin Clark's too often a target. I mean, the 30-year poster is just icing on the cake. You can't figure out a way to put your most popular...
Stephanie White was furious and specific. She called the no call on the throat shot egregious and dangerous, said she flagged it to the officials at halftime, and then pointed at the box score. Indiana whistled for 11 fourth-quarter fouls to Phoenix's 2, Phoenix shooting 24 free throws in the second half. Her core line is the one that should worry the league. Clark, she said, is not called the same way everybody else is called. That's not a fan on the internet. That's a head coach with decades in the sport saying the standard shifts depending on who's getting hit. And
Exactly.
Rising tide lifts all boats. You think Magic Johnson and Larry Bird wanted to concede the reins to Michael Jordan? I'm not comparing Caitlin Clark to Jordan in terms of her ability, even though she's pretty damn good. I'm comparing her to him as it pertains to her box office appeal for her respective sport.
Exactly.
She's that girl. You ride that wave. You want to beat Caitlin Clark? Beat her playing basketball. Don't beat her with roughhouse tactics.
And what Alyssa Thomas did was purely a roughhouse tactic.
Stephen A. Smith took it somewhere else toward motive. His argument is that there's real resentment around Clark, and that some of the physicality aimed at her is fueled by it rather than by basketball. Now that's an interpretation, and it deserves the honest counterweight. Thomas is one of the most physical, most decorated players in the league. This was a violent scramble, and dirty versus hard-nosed is a line people will draw differently. But Smith's actual prescription is hard to argue with. If you want to beat Caitlin Clark, beat her playing basketball. Whatever you want to call the throat shot, it wasn't that.
There is a flagrant level of resentment that exists when it comes to Caitlin Clark, and it has existed since she has arrived in the league.
Haters. That's what we've been saying from day one. When we say it, they try to act like we're making it up and all of this stuff. Everybody can see it.
She is the cash cow. Just recently, a couple of days ago, I think, we saw her and another player, I think it was Elisa Boston or whatever, we saw them be the top 2 vote getters for the WNBA All-Star. As to availability towards this girl.
So let's put the whole picture together, because the loudest voices are only giving you half of it. The incident is real, and it was ugly. A fist to the throat during a scramble, no call in the moment, a flagrant foul 2, and a 1-game suspension on review. The people screaming that 1 game is nothing have a point about how it feels. But the number isn't a verdict. The league reached out of contempt. It's the automatic penalty that 4 flagrant points triggers, and it's the first suspension of Alyssa Thomas's 13-year career. You can think the punishment is too soft and still admit the system, not some secret grudge, produced it. The poster everyone treated as proof of disrespect probably isn't. The most likely explanation is a licensing clause that keeps Clark's likeness off merchandise made by anyone other than Nike. That's a boring answer, and boring answers don't trend. But if this channel is going to be the one people actually trust, the boring true answer beats the exciting wrong one every single time. Where the criticism really lands is consistency. When the head coach of the team says, on the record, that her player isn't officiated the way everyone else is, and then points to an 11-2 foul gap inside a single quarter, that's not noise. That's a structural problem the league has to answer, because it's the same complaint from credible people, game after game. And underneath all of it is the business reality nobody at the league seems willing to just say out loud. Caitlin Clark is the most valuable television asset women's basketball has ever produced. The viewership, the arenas, the charter flights, the merchandise, the entire growth curve bends around her arrival. Cowherd's Tiger Woods comparison is the right one. The smart move when a generational draw shows up is to ride the wave until everybody in the sport is richer for it. Golf figured that out. The open question is whether this league ever will. Now here's where I want to be fair, because this channel isn't here to pretend. Alyssa Thomas is a great player, and physical basketball is part of why the women's game is worth watching. Reasonable people can study that scramble and disagree about intent. And Clark herself has fought back and lower body issues all season. She was limited to just 13 games a year ago. So some of what looks like a league failing to protect her is both things can be true at the same time. But strip away the noise and one sentence stands. If you want to beat Caitlin Clark, beat her playing basketball. A fist to the throat isn't competition. A one-quarter foul gap that lopsided isn't consistency. And a league sitting on the biggest gift it's ever been handed should not need its own broadcasters begging it to act like it. So here's the real question, and I want a straight answer down in the comments, not it's complicated. Is the WNBA genuinely mistreating Caitlin Clark, or is a sympathetic fan base turning every hard foul and every licensing technicality into a conspiracy? Pick one, make your case. And if you want the grounded version of these stories, instead of the rage bait version, you already know what to do. Subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.